ba 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 ba. January is nearly over and we're just about at the season's midway point. We've got a good gauge of how most teams are going to look and we have plenty of games to have a solid idea of who's performing best across world footy. We're far away from the actual Ballon d'Or vote, but how's the field stand right now? We took a crack at ranking the top 10. And just to get it out of the way, Ronaldo and Antoine Griezmann did not make the list. Sorry about it. Now let's get after it. In at number 10 is Mauro Icardi. Before we get too far into it, there are a number of players that have been left out in the cold on this list. Notably guys like Eden Hazard, Nabil Fekir, Paulo Dybala, and even Lazio's Luis Alberto or Manchester United's David De Gea. They've all been phenomenal, but since we get to choose, Icardi's the one who gets the nod. Inter Milan's Argentine hitman has been their most consistent player all season. And if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't even be close to sniffing the Champions League qualification places. Still just 24 years old, Icardi hit 26 goals last year, and it looks like he's gonna fly past that mark pretty easily this year. His on-pitch accomplishments may have been overshadowed by some messy off-field incidents, but it's impossible to ignore just how good he's been. The Real Madrids of the world keep sniffing around his doorstep, and it might not be too long before Inter invites them in to have a nice little chat. At number 9 is Luis Suarez. Luisito started the season pretty slowly, looking out of shape, off the pace, and just plain rusty. It didn't look like the same ruthlessly lethal Luis Suarez we've come to know and expect, but that old saying, form is temporary, class is permanent, might as well be Suarez's motto for the season. Since November, he's been out of control for Barcelona, and his form alongside Messi has been a huge reason they're so far out in front of the rest of La Liga. Suarez didn't find his form in time to do any damage in Champions League, and he didn't even manage a goal in 6 appearances. But in La Liga, dude's got 15 goals and 4 assists in 17 matches, with 9 goals and a couple of assists in his last 6. Looks like he's got that old thing back. Coming in at number 8 is Bayern's top guy, Robert Lewandowski. Bayern's predictably leading the Bundesliga by a lot, and probably no one's been more important to that effort than Levy. He's got 17 goals in 18 league appearances, added 3 more in Champions League, and he's been absolutely unstoppable for yet another year running. He leads the league in contribution to team goals with a ridiculous 39% of Bayern's league-leading 44 strikes on the year. He's a full 4 goals ahead of Aubameyang at the top of the league goal-scoring charts, and he's well on the way to snatching his golden boot back from the Dortmund striker. In at number 7 is Barcelona new boy Coutinho. To his credit, despite clearly agitating for a move out of Merseyside, the little dude from Rio never stopped balling in a Liverpool shirt until the day he left. He racked up 12 goals and 8 assists in all competitions before signing for the Blaugrana and added 3 goals in 3 appearances in COPA90 too. Even with his back problems, he was on fire just about every time he stepped on the pitch and was a huge reason for Liverpool's push into the top 4. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of snake emojis in the comments, but he's been special. You can't take that away from him. And at number 6, it's Edinson Cavani. The biggest story coming out of Paris this year has been surrounding Neymar, his transfer, and the drama, real or perceived, between him and Cavani. But all that drama surrounding the most expensive player on earth has overshadowed just how amazing Cavani has been this season. Without even taking a look at the numbers, first we have to talk about just how much work Cavani puts in for his team. One of the most unselfish players in Europe, he covers stupid ground for a striker, tracks back to defend, never stops running the channels to create space for his teammates, and even has maintained a saintly calm and positive public attitude towards Neymar despite his man shooting for the Prima Donna d'Or award. Now, we have to get to the numbers. 20 goals in 21 appearances in Ligue 1 and 6 in 6 in Champions League. He's tied with Ibra as PSG's all-time goal-scoring leader, and he's gonna blow that sucker out of the water. And he deserves it. Sliding in at number 5 is Tottenham Hotspur's own Hurricane. Now Spurs might be wildly inconsistent this season, sitting in 5th in the Prem, but their boy Harry, inconsistency is not in his vocabulary. Kane leads the league in both goals scored and contribution to total team goals, with a wildly lopsided 45% of Spurs' 47 in the league. Harry's done it in Europe this season too, and his 6 goals in Champions League has him in a 5-way tie for second top scorer on the continent. To sum it all up, he's a one-season wonder who just keeps doing it season after season after season. At number 4, it's Africa's Player of the Year. Liverpool may have lost Coutinho, but that don't matter because they've got Salah. Ba 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 ba. Mo Salah signed for Liverpool at the beginning of the season, and this guy, given a second shot at the Prem, has taken off like an Olympic sprinter. Literally, no one can catch Lil Mo, and he's been running circles around the Premier League's best defenses. Salah's goal tally of 18 is even more impressive considering he typically plays as a winger, and his 6 assists alongside him means he only comes in behind Harry Kane and Wayne Rooney in contribution to team goals at 33% of Liverpool's 54. Salah's done it in Europe too, with 5 strikes and an assist in 6 matches to help Liverpool progress to the knockout rounds. If he keeps it up, there's a legitimate chance he becomes just the second African player in history to win the Ballon d'Or, following in the footsteps of new Liberia president George Weah. Rounding out our top 3 is Neymar. Brazil's golden boy stunned the world when he decided to abdicate his princely throne in Barcelona for the nouveau riche in Paris, and he hasn't been out of the headlines since. There's plenty of drama to go around here, whether it's ongoing dispute between him and Barcelona or the penalty fights with Cavani, but none of that would be remotely okay if it weren't for just how incredible he's been in a PSG shirt. In 15 Ligue 1 matches, he's been directly responsible for 26 goals, finding the net 15 times and adding a further 11 assists. Aside from that whole penalty thing, he's been wildly generous, and that's extended to Europe as well. In 6 appearances, he's got 6 goals and 3 assists, and he's got PSG looking like they finally might just be legitimate Champions League contenders. In at number 2, it's Pep Guardiola's newest prized apprentice, Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne was always a sublimely skilled player, but under Guardiola's guidance, he's turned into perhaps the most complete attacker on the planet. De Bruyne is the focal point of Manchester City's beautiful, ever-flowing, and liquidly fluid attack, and although his numbers don't necessarily jump off the page, it's his constant influence on proceedings that make him so good. 6 goals and 10 assists in the Premier League is nothing to scoff at, and neither is a goal and 3 assists in Europe. But De Bruyne represents the essence of why the eye test is so important. When you see him spring Raheem Sterling, Leroy Sané with an absurdly difficult scything pass through the defense that eventually leads to a goal, he might not have recorded an assist, but you know who was responsible. And that's why De Bruyne might just have a shout at breaking the Ronaldo-Messi duopoly at the top of Ballon d'Or mountain. The problem with that lies with our number 1. And you already know who it is, Lionel Messi. At this point, all the words have been said about this guy. So let's take a look straight at the numbers. A league-leading 19 goals to go along with a league-leading 9 assists in La Liga. Add that to 3 goals and an assist in Europe, and Barca, despite losing Neymar and nothing but doom and gloom forecasted for this season, are rolling. Make no mistake, we're dealing with vintage Messi again this season. 2016-17 was CR7's season, and deservedly so. But rolling into 2018, it looks like Messi has this año in a chokehold. So there you have it, our picks for mid-season Ballon d'Or favorites. Who do we miss? Who makes your top 10? Get down in the comments and let your voice be heard. Later, Copa fam.